This is the Tao Te Ching from written around 500 BC by Laozi, who was living in China. As the story goes, he left along the Silk Road on a bull and ended up writing the Tao Te Ching after he was um, captured by a guard or something like that at Hangyu, at the Hangyu Pass. Um, he's then taken into custody by a guard, and he writes the Tao Te Ching at some point during that story. um, Daniel Daniel the prophet meets a man in on the Silk Road during the same exact time period in Persia, where the Silk Road comes out of China and intersects with Susa, Iran, where Daniel was seeing this vision, and he meets a what he describes as the appearance of a man, um, bearing the glory. The glory of God is coming and being revealed, and this the messenger that comes to him along with the archangel Michael tells him that he was rescued by the archangel Michael from capture. He was captured by the Persian guards on his way, in theory, into the Silk Road, into the Empire of Persia. He's then taken into custody and, you know, questioned and held. They're trying to figure out, who this man was, and he says that Michael, the archangel Michael, comes and appears to him and releases him from prison, from capture. In theory, in some type of spiritual, maybe using spiritual power or whatever, breaks him free from the prison. I'm not sure how that would work, but it sounds like a rescue takes place in the physical realm. This isn't a spiritual matter. He's saying he's captured by the guards of Persia. Anyone coming in through the border would have been captured, no doubt, to be questioned as to what they have, who they're coming with, where are they coming from. In theory, he would have had this scroll of the Tao Te Ching with him at that time. In Daniel, he is told that he must go on to contend with the kings of Persia, but that Daniel has read the scroll of truth. Tao Te Ching means scroll. Tao Te would be translated roughly as truth. So Tao Te Ching, and you can even see the paintings of Laozi. He's holding a pearl right here in his bosom, symbolizing the Tao, symbolizing his understanding of the pearl of heaven, the understanding of heaven inside of you. That's where your true power comes from. That's where the kingdom of heaven is, and that reflects a lot of what Jesus also says. The pearl of great price. The pearl of great price sounds like the Tao, like the treasure of that the man looks for and buries within himself. He goes and sells all that he has because he's found the treasure that he needs. And interestingly, he's going to go speak to the kings of Persia, and the Tao Te Ching is a text on a lot of references to personally applying the Tao to yourself, but also to a kingdom. So it deals with kings. It deals with. It goes up to 81 verses. It's not that long. It's not that thick. This is the whole Tao Te Ching in this book. 81 chapters. It goes into how to rule a kingdom. A lot of this goes into how to master yourself so that you can master others. How to live, how to rule, how to lead from behind, how to rule and govern yourself. It says that someone should govern themselves before they govern anything or anything else or anyone else. They should master themselves. They should know how to govern themselves before applying any of this to the rest of the world. And throughout it, he's talking about the true master, the true sage, the true one who merits the right to rule, merits the right to teach others because they are merciful. They've learned. They've matured, evolved, advanced in the spiritual understandings and spiritual matters. That's the true power that he's taught. He's holding in his bosom is the true power of the spiritual, of the metaphysical, the true reality is beyond just the physical. It's the metaphysical kingdom. It's the metaphysical realm. My words are very easy to understand and easy to practice, yet the world can neither understand nor practice them. My words have only one source, the subtle truth of the universe. My deeds have only one master, the natural virtue of the universe. The people of the world have no knowledge of this. Thus they have no knowledge of me. The fewer the persons that know me, the nobler are they that follow me. Therefore, the one of whole virtue wears coarse clothing superficially, but holds a precious treasure within. So the person holding the treasure within that would be the pearl of great price, the kingdom of heaven, the true understanding of the metaphysical realm and of the true nature of the spiritual. The coarse clothing being a rough exterior, a rough, perhaps seeming not obscure from other people's perspectives and from appearances. He is speaking from pure understanding, pure. What he's saying is this is pure reflection on nature itself, on reality itself, on the way the world works. The words are very easy to understand and easy to practice. The world does not understand or practice them. My words have one source, the subtle truth of the universe. So the most subtle, the Tao is all about tracing back and understanding all the manifestations come from one source, one place, one thing. The most subtle source of all things. Getting to that point, getting to that place, the wellspring, and that would be, in theory, the wellspring of life in the Book of Revelations, the crystal clear wellspring of life that Jesus finally takes you to as you get down through all of the Book of Revelation, through all the judgments and all of the things that are external. You finally arrive at the final revelation, the wellspring of life, in the midst of the paradise of God, which is the source of all things, that infinitely small, crystal clear wellspring, the Word of God, where everything comes out from. And it talks about being washed in the throne of grace, washed in that pure, crystal clear wellspring. That it's an absolute fundamental truth that is absolutely undeniable. It cannot be escaped. It's the absolute reality of the spirit. The source of all things, the most fundamental thing. That's what this is all referring back to. The Tao itself is that expression, is that place, that point. That does sound also a lot like the wellspring of life. emanating out as the word of, as the Bible calls the word of God, coming out, expressing creation, and ultimately Jesus, the revelation of the coming of Christ, the Son of God, the Messiah, which Daniel receives that revelation after Daniel meets this man, and then the Archangel Michael, he receives the prophecy of the coming of the Messiah. The Messiah would go, in 490 years, would go and be cut off and crucified. And then when you read Revelation, he is then taken back to heaven, and he receives the scroll. He opens up the scroll, the scroll, and the interpretation of the scroll with, and the seven seals. He fulfills the meaning of the scroll. That that could be referencing the Tao and the Tao Te Ching itself, the master carpenter, the the sage, the perfect, the one who has the right to rule, the right to be king. Again, the whole revelation is about the coming of the Messiah, the Son of God, the rightful heir to rule all things. And he earned that, it says, because he gave everything up. So again, that's also within the Taoist philosophy, is learning how to merge with all things, learning how to endure, learning how to forgive, to master the way. How does the sea become the queen of all rivers and streams? By lying lower than they do. Hence, it is the queen of all rivers and streams. One who humbles himself, therefore, can serve all people. By putting himself last, he comes to be their leader. Thus, when one of subtle virtue is set above people, they do not feel that he is their burden. They don't feel burdened by this sage, by this master that Laozi is referring to. And when he stands in front of people, they do not feel that he is an obstruction to them. This sounds a lot like Jesus, the perfect master, the perfect sage. Therefore, the world follows one of subtle virtue joyfully and never tires of doing so. He does not compete with anyone. Thus, he is above all competition. That also sounds like Jesus. Jesus is that perfect representation of the master, the sage, there in chapter 62 of the Tao Te Ching. So I think that perhaps the meanings and the understandings and meanings of the Tao Te Ching can be seen through the light of Christ and of the wellspring of life, and of the deeper understandings of the wisdom of the Bible, and throughout really the whole Bible, and especially in the New Testament.